family-centered, Christian-based, grown in the heart of the Midwest. Talking to people from all walks of life.
The world needs more encouraging stuff, honest conversation. I always put my biblical spin on everything because that's my foundation. My name's Bubba. What is up?
I shovel my neighbor's driveway, two of them. They're older people. And I've been saving that money. And I was like, this is podcast money right here. We saved this. So we did an open house last summer and I smoked some meat and had people just stop by anytime they wanted. And I was like, this is our open house fund right now. So maybe I should use some of that money and get some better
That's
services.
so awesome.
The Monroe versus West Monroe debate. I've heard the guys on like Unashamed mention it, on the Unashamed podcast mention it. I've heard the guys on the Duck Hall room mention it before too. Like, yeah, it's not real serious, but it exists. You know, some people kind of look at people from, so just give me your take on it.
I mean, you know, my thing was always like, I feel like for most Monroe people, it's like not really on our radar. So what does that say about the West Monroe side of things? I don't know. No, I'm kidding. But I really didn't grow up like thinking that's West Monroe and this is Monroe. Most of our life was here because my school and my church was here. But if you wanted to go to the movies and you wanted to go eat at Chili's, you know, which we all did in the early 2000s, you had to go to West Monroe. So, I mean, it was just like, you know, it wasn't anything to me. I do think that West Monroe, I have to say, has more land and rolling hills, which I love.
Okay.
You know, so they do have that. I feel like there's probably a slower pace of life. I do think I have to say, even though I love people who live in these areas, there are some snootier parts of Monroe, and I gotta admit that even from this side of the river. You know, so I mean, there are things, but overall, I mean, you know, like we have a friend that's on the Duck Call room, and he drives to Monroe for his kids' school. So, you know.
Okay. That's a good answer right there. Very good. What is up, everybody? Welcome back for part 2 with Hallie Dye, author of You're Still a Good Mom, founder of Saltworks Ministries. If you missed part 1, you can't start here. Like, this is going to be a lot of fun, but you got to get to know Hallie. Go back to part 1. We talked everything about her growing up pretty much in a church home and then heading off to LSU, which if you know LSU like I do, it's got a label as a party school. There's no way around that. But it was really some formative years for her there, led to her getting married, writing a book, overcoming fear and anxiety and all that stuff. Her story is great. You want to go back and listen to that on part 1. This week, going to be totally different. Going to be a lot lighter until the very end. We're going to get into our segments. We're going to have some fun. Hopefully, we're going to encourage you today. That's the goal. Okay. Speaking of encouragement, I want to give a couple quick shout outs. This is how I start every part 2 of every episode right here. If you're in my area, if you're up in Iowa, I told Hallie I actually do got some street cred in the South. I grew up in Slidell, Louisiana. But if you're in my area now, which is Northeast Iowa, and you're passionate about art, you got to check out the Steve Brown Arts Center. Jim Gillespie over there in Jessup, Iowa. You may remember him. He's a former guest. He has a vision to build a rent-free house for artists to come in and live in and work on their craft. As long as they can maintain the building and grounds, it's rent-free. They can just focus on their artwork. So check them out on Facebook. They always have dynamic exhibits and interactive workshops if you're interested in art. Second shout out would be if you're interested in purchasing some amazing yet affordable artwork for that home, office, or cabin of yours, you got to check out my buddy Tony Thomas, TonyThomasArt.com. This guy paints everything from beautiful nature scenes to biblical portraits to cityscapes, really good stuff. Southern staples, whatever your interest, and he'll paint whatever you want. You can commission him to paint something specific for you, a portrait, anything. I love his stuff. I have it hanging on my walls down here. So head on over to TonyThomasArt.com. Get yourself some amazing art. And the last shout out has got to be for Pastor Corey Brooks. You know him as the Rooftop Pastor in Chicago, Illinois. He is trying to finish fundraising for the Leadership and Economic Opportunity Center on the south side of Chicago. You guys remember him. He believes every community can have a comeback, even O Block, where he is the worst corner in America, can have a comeback. And he's doing that now by bringing generational change with this center, getting people off the streets, changing their lives forever, coming to Jesus, giving them life skills. He needs our help. So check out projecthood.org and support this awesome mission. All right, let's get to part 2 of this episode. Hallie, you ready to get into these segments?
I'm ready.
All right. I had in my notes something I wanted to mention in part one. We're going to actually start it off right here. This is totally off script. You said you taught French.
Mhm.
Give us a little French.
OK. Je m'appelle Hallie. J'adore lire et je suis une mère pour trois enfants, Bear, Garnet, and Finn. And I don't know how long you want me to go.
That's good. Tell us what you said.
I said, my name's Hallie. I love to read. I'm a mom to three kids, Bear, Garnet, and Finn. So
Oh, wow. Yeah, I caught the
I don't know.
names
I'm a
in
bit
there.
rusty, so nobody check my grammar, but you know.
I know one thing, and
Yeah.
I'll say it, and then you can critique how I say it, and then tell you can interpret it. Laissez bon
Oh,
temps rouler.
yeah. Let the good times roll. Yeah.
That's it. If you grow up in
Yeah.
Louisiana, you learn that like in
Uh-huh.
kindergarten.
And any true, like, I will say that that's like can be a thing, and I really am rusty on French. I don't get to speak it often at all. But like, when somebody really knows it when they write it, because it's like it
Oh,
should, like, it should have an S on good as well, like les bon tom, and like that's grammatically. And so you'll see a lot of people misuse that,
oh, sure.
and it's like because they're doing the English version, we don't
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
pluralize the adjective, so
Yeah.
it's funny.
Well, I was gonna throw it in part one when you said something about, I think it was your mom's letter to you when you were heading off to college, and she was like, "Now it's your own. Your faith is your own. Like it's going to be your choice to continue to grow to the Lord, grow closer to the Lord, or not." And I was gonna throw in a line. I was gonna say she took the laissez-faire approach, right? Like it's your
That's
own thing.
right.
I was gonna see if you caught that, but
Yes, that's funny. I do
okay.
have a funny story about French though. When I switched majors, if anybody listened to part one, I kind of went through, I don't know what I want to do, crisis, and I switched majors at LSU. And when I did that, I had dual enrollment for French 2 and 3, I think, from high school. And so I didn't need any more foreign language hours for my first major. Well, when I switched, now I need more foreign language. And I was like, well, I loved French, and so I'll jump in. But I'm a year at least removed from French and, was in high school the last time anyways. Well, this in French 4, the whole class is in French. Like there's no English dialogue at
Oh
all.
wow.
And part of it was we would have these group oral exams where she would ask questions and we'd all have to answer. But then there was this one where I didn't realize this was going to be that because I wasn't understanding everything she was saying clearly. But it was a one-on-one oral exam for 10 minutes in her office. And so
Oh,
I was like, oh gosh. And it ended up going really well. My husband's from Texas, so we talked about Texas pride and how they think they're their kind of own, country and
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Because she was from Senegal. Well, at the end of it, she was like, are you from England? And I was like, no, but thank you. And I thought, I mean, I know my accent does not sound English. So I was like, maybe the freckles, like, I don't know. And I was like, no, and she was like, it's your French. You speak French with a British accent. My high school teacher was British, which
Hmm.
is like hilarious. So I do have a British accent actually, but only in French.
Wow. When speaking French, you have a British accent. Man,
Who knew that was
accents.
possible?
Yeah, accents are weird. I'm gonna do a reel about that someday. What is up with accents? Like when I
I
moved
love
up
it though.
here, they were like, dude, we can't understand you. In seventh grade, they were like, we don't understand a word you're saying. Slow down, using. And now I get here and like I can't understand my cousins. Like it's
Yes.
weird. Or then my wife's family's from northern Minnesota and they got that thick like Canadian and they say, we don't have an accent. You Iowans have an accent. It's like we have the plainest language of anywhere. We're right in the middle of the country. We have no accent. Oh man. That's
Yes,
good.
I know. Yeah, in the South, we shorten the sentence "Did you eat?" to "Jeet," and it's just Jeet. Like that's all it is. Like,
That was good. Jeet. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. I think yeah, get away from the books for a while. I can see you being like the new generation's female version of like Jeff Foxworthy. Like all the southern lingo there. That's good. Okay, let's start with segment number one. You chose this or that. So basically you have no idea what I'm gonna give you two choices and you just choose what you'd rather have. Here we go. First one. We'll stay southern with this. Gumbo or jambalaya?
Jambalaya.
Crawfish or shrimp?
That depends on the season. You got to have crawfish, but normally I'd say shrimp.
Okay. Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Music or podcasts?
It depends on my mood, honestly. But
Okay.
I'd say probably music, but I do love a good deep podcast sometimes.
All right. I like it. Yeah, sometimes some of these you almost have to they're nuanced a little bit. And so yeah, you can explain. In that nice new beautiful house that you guys put your blood, sweat, and tears and 14 months of your life into, when you're walking around, is
Mhm.
it barefoot, socks, slippers, shoes? This used to be either or, and now having asked it to many people, they said, "Well, it's actually this. It's actually this." I'm like, "Okay, so let's just do it." When you're walking around your home inside, what's on your feet?
This one's easy. Shoes. I wear shoes until I am physically going to bed. Like I have dry feet.
Okay.
A friend of mine will FaceTime me, and I will just have the camera pointed at my shoes, and she's like, I can't deal with that. Why are you still
Indoors?
wearing that?" Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, that was a culture shock for me coming up here. And the first house I walk into in Iowa, there's like a whole area for your shoes. And I'm like, are we in China? Or isn't that like
Yes.
Japanese? What are we doing here? And they're like, you learn with like Iowa winters, your shoes come off at the door. I was like, I'm 13 years old. I've never done that. We don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Swimming pool or beach?
Beach.
All right. All right. Fruits or vegetables?
Ooh, vegetables.
All right. Let's see. Text or phone call?
Probably text unless it's a close friend.
Yeah, it always depends on who it's from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Um, New phone or new clothes?
New clothes.
Okay. Cook at home or go out to eat?
I like to cook, but it's also nice when I don't have to. So
Yeah.
I'm just say both.
Yeah. Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Okay, you're an author, you're a reader, fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
Really? Oh, I would have went the other
Hmm.
way. Fiction, huh?
I
Okay.
know. I know. No, I am like a notoriously non-finisher when it comes to nonfiction,
Oh,
even though that's what I've written. So, we're working on that.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, this one gets to the heart of the Southern divide right here. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Gotta be. Gotta be. I was gonna say
But Mr. Pibb over Dr. Pepper.
I I'm on a Mr. Pibb kick right now. They got it
Hmm.
at the gas station in the town where I work, and they're selling 20 ounces for 99 cents. So I get a
That's
couple
awesome.
on Friday, and it's the zero sugar, and it's not the plain Mr.
Hmm.
Pibb. It's like Kickin' Cherry, I think is the name of it. And
Okay.
this is the best stuff I've ever had. It's
The
great.
movie theater in West Monroe used to carry Mr. Pibb, and it hits different. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yep. Yep. That's what I said when I got home. I said, hot take, everybody. Mr. Pibb is better than Dr. Pepper.
Hmm.
They said, okay, dad obviously grabbed something new today. Like, okay. Let's see if I got those were all my new content ones. Okay. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
That a girl. This is another one of these that's kind of a southern divide. Cracker Barrel or Waffle House?
Waffle House.
Oh, and you say it like it's not even a question. Like I have
Come
confidence
on.
in this.
There was a meme recently that was like, if who do you think would win the staff, like in a fight, in a physical fight, the staff from a McDonald's or the staff from a Waffle House? And somebody was like, man, the staff from the Waffle House can take the Avengers on a good night, you know?
Oh man, we had both in Slidell, and I think we hit them both equally. Oh man.
Yeah.
So much so that my mom, she still lives in Mississippi. She comes up once or twice a year. One of the most recent times she came up, she actually went and got me a pecan waffle in the to-go container, put it in the cooler, covered it up, tried to, knowing it ain't gonna stay warm after a 16-hour drive or whatever, but she brought me
Yeah.
up a pecan waffle from Waffle House.
That's the
She'll
best.
kill me if I say it wrong.
Well, that's right. Well, that's what's so hard about waffles or pancakes. And you're like, normally pancakes, but if it's a Waffle House,
The Waffle House waffle. Okay.
yeah.
All right, this one's a little weird, but this is probably our most controversial one right here, and we'll end on this one. When you're talking paper towels and toilet paper on the roll, is
Hmm.
it is the end hanging over the front, or is it hanging like
Absolutely, it
under
is.
the back,
No,
like through the
no,
bottom?
because efficiency still lives, and yeah.
Okay.
Why is that controversial?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll do it on your episode. I'll insert the patent right here for the toilet paper roll, the paper towel roll. It's meant to hang over the front. How people
Mm-mm.
think it's supposed to go out the back and then through the bottom, so you got to reach under to grab the
Yeah,
toilet paper. You're
No,
all
no,
wrong.
that's exactly. Well, there's like, there's the whole thing about marriage. Like if somebody gets upset about the dishwasher, it's not really about you didn't unload the dishwasher. There's always like a deeper thing, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, I don't feel seen lately, and you not unloading the dishwasher is like you did. There's always something deeper. If you can get to the deeper thing faster, that means less arguments. But the toilet paper is like, I'm worried you're a sociopath. Like I don't know what's going on here.
It's clearly over the front. There's something wrong if you think it's out the
Yeah.
back and under. Come on. I've just learned I do the dishes in my house because I can't stand the way people load the dishwasher. It's like there's a right way
That's
to
how
do
my
it.
husband
And then
is.
come
Yeah.
on, do it the right way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to segment number 2 here. This is the do-over segment. You chose the do-over segment. If you could go back and redo something, like get a second shot at something in life, what would that be?
Okay, I have two. One would be we talked about last episode about how like I had a lot of postpartum,
Hmm.
and I think I would go back and I'm a big proponent of not taking medicine unless you really need it, but I
Hmm.
think I would go back and take medicine so I could just enjoy that year with him. I think that would have quieted a lot of fears and just helped me bond with him as a baby. He's
Yeah.
fine. He's great. You know what I mean? But I think that's one I would do. Plus, I know what I'm doing now, more
Yeah.
than when you have your first. And then I think the other is being a recovering people pleaser, like some situations that went sideways, going back and advocating clearly instead of allowing myself to be misunderstood.
Sure. That's good. Very good. Very good. Last segment, movie or book review. So this is, hey, what good movie, what good book have you watched or read lately? And tell us about it.
Okay, I started to go favorite book, but I think I'm going to go most recent movie because I think it's still out. Have you seen Project Hail Mary?
No, I've seen about it.
Okay,
Have not seen it.
you got to go see it. My husband took me. I admittedly did not read the book. It wasn't on my radar until he went to go see the movie, and he went with a group of guys. And then he was like, "I think it's my new favorite movie. I want you to see it." So we went on date night.
Oh, wow.
And like I have got to say, it really, it's been a minute since like a good movie came out. It really impressed me. Like the story is wonderful. I would say it was clean. Like for sure, middle school, I think is there is a whole part, I think having older kids being able to say like, hey, he was basically going on what he thought was a suicide mission, if you're not familiar with the story. So being able to talk about that, like the sacrifice and the heaviness of it, but like so many, I would argue so many like symbols for the gospel
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was, I laughed, I cried. I even turned middle aged because I turned around and asked the middle schoolers behind me to be quiet. It was just a
Oh,
lot of,
oh.
yes, I know that was a new chapter in my life that I wasn't prepared for, but it was over the top, man.
Come on, kids. You got to have respect. We paid for our tickets too. We want to
That's
enjoy it.
right.
Yeah, I've heard some good things, and it's almost like something like with a title like that, or if you think it's got Christian undertones, if it don't have the name
Hmm.
Angel or Affirm Films or something, where you think, oh, it's going to be like some Hollywood, you know,
Hmm.
woke garbage thing.
Yeah,
Um, but no, I've heard good things. So I just watched
it was really good.
I watched that movie that it was a Lifetime film about Alan Lisa Robertson's story, and that
I
just
have
went,
not seen it
oh
yet. I bet it's
man.
so good.
Yeah, it really was for being like a Lifetime. I
Hmm.
mean, their production company worked closely with them, but
Hmm.
really good for a lower budget film. Faith and Forgiveness. It was powerful. It was really good. Excellent.
I've gotten to hear her story. She was speaking at an event that I was speaking at last year, and
Mhm.
she was before me, and I got to hear her. So powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. When we were talking in part one about like being able to do everything on our own strength, and it's like, no, we're not wired that way. We can't. Like things will like consume us, overpower us. We're meant to rely on God. Like there's no way to explain their story. Like Al had his years where he was doing wrong, and then Lisa had her year. And it's like when you look at that from a worldly perspective, that ends in nothing but brokenness, hopelessness, divorce. Look at him now. You can't explain that any other way
Mm-hmm.
apart from the power of God. So, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, let's go to the getting to know you segment. These will run a little bit faster. You'll just give me your answers to these. Pet peeves, what do you got?
Okay, I think I'm gonna go a lighthearted one. So I'm not a huge pet peeve person. Like it doesn't bother me when people chew cereal in a way or
Okay.
leave dirty clothes. That's fine. But my husband has the loudest sneeze in all of the world. Like, I mean, it's not my word. Like we lived on the bayou in our old house and we are sitting on the back porch and he sneezed one time and someone way down the bayou said, "Bless you." I was like, the world has spoken.
Wow. Wow. That must be
Yeah.
loud then. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one problem we face today, in your opinion.
I think busyness and
Good one. Okay.
also I think that can go hand in hand with social media.
Right. Oh, that's very good. Favorite movies of all time.
Okay, anything by Nancy Myers, Annie, the 2000 version with like Kathy Bates. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, that I will cry every time. Any of the Harry Potters, Ever After with Drew Barrymore, You've Got Mail, you know.
Wow.
I love a fairy tale, you know.
I like when people say, give me your number one. It's like, bro, it's a list. It's like a top five, top 10 list. You can never, if you really
Absolutely.
like a good story, you can't narrow it down uh,
Right.
to one. You can't do it. Okay. Now, this one I'm really interested in. Favorite Christmas movies.
Oh, Muppet Christmas Carol, hands down, in
Okay.
its own category. Yeah.
Uh,
It's like the music, the nostalgia, everything. It's quirky in the best way.
okay. I'm gonna have to try that. I think I saw it when I was a kid, but it's not. I mean, I swear I got every Christmas movie known to man, and we watch them on repeat. But
Mhm.
outside of that one, like your other ones, what would you say? Which ones do you enjoy?
I mean, I love The
Any?
Holiday. That's Nancy Myers. Yeah.
Okay.
We of course watched The Grinch and Elf.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, all the classics. Home
Okay.
Alone. We've just now let our kids start watching because there's a lot in there that you don't
Oh,
remember.
yeah. I hate
Yeah.
that. I hate that.
I
I mean, not
know.
even just with Christmas movies or stuff like that, but any movie from my childhood that I'm like, oh, this would be
Hmm.
great. And then
Well,
you
because
watch
we
it with your
watched the
kids.
TV version.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everybody watched the TV version when we were growing up, but now, you can't even get some of those movies on, is it Angel or something that can edit out, they don't have the ones you're looking for.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. It was, I want to say it was Little Monsters or something. It had a comedian, it had the kid from the Wonder Years in it. I remember loving that as a kid. It was kind of creepy, but funny. And then I sat down and
hmm.
watched with my kids one day and I'm like, we had to like stop it like 20 minutes in. I'm like, I don't remember
Yeah,
those words being in there. I don't remember those adult jokes being in there. And it's like, oh man,
right.
how did I turn out how I did?
Yeah.
It's a God thing for sure.
Probably a
Okay.
lot went over our heads.
Oh, it did. It did. Yeah. Okay, this is one that the spouse of every guest loves when they choose it. What's one thing you love or appreciate about your spouse?
I mean, this could be the whole episode. He is genuinely my favorite person in the whole world. Like, he's my best friend. He's the funniest person I know. Nate Bargatze is like a close second,
Oh wow. Oh
but
wow.
like we've been together like almost 19 years in total, and so it's like our humor is just so aligned. Like we can just
Mhm.
say one movie quote and we get the whole thing, And
Yeah.
so we laugh a lot. But this is gonna sound maybe like a selfish response on the surface, but he genuinely loves me like Christ loves the church. Like
Mm.
I feel like he sacrifices and puts us first so much. And I know that that's a hard tension to carry. So I really appreciate that about him.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, you're right. That could be a whole episode. Because man, I've had so much godly wisdom about people talking about marriage, and it's like, right, you're getting married because you love each other, but then there's going to come a day where you got to love each other because you're married, and
Hmm.
like that hits, or when you think about that, like, bro, it's not about you. If you
Yeah.
constantly serve and sacrifice and love the other one, even when it's hard, they're going
Hmm.
to want to do that in response. And I was like, that's not what culture tells you. Culture tells you it's
Right.
about you and your feelings, and that's it. I was like, yeah, don't. And that's why the marriage rates are what they are. But you look inside the born again, Bible believing Christian not denomination, but demographic, the
Hmm.
divorce rate's way lower. And it's like, well, that's
Yeah.
why, because we know it's not about you. Oh,
That's
I
right.
love it.
Try to outserve each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Good advice. Good advice. Where are you at in the Bible right now? Next question.
I'm in Joshua and currently like today I am like in right in the middle where it's like everybody's getting their different allotment of land. So it's kind of
Okay.
like, oh, whatever that place is, kind
Hmm.
of thing.
Hmm.
But that's a book that I've been through quite a few times. And when I tell you it has spoken so much to me in this season in different ways, it's been good.
Yeah. Yeah. I love when I talk to people that are haven't read the Bible or anything like that, and they think, oh, the Bible is just this rule book or whatever. Joshua and Caleb are a couple of those guys I go to when I'm trying to like point out masculinity. I was like, bro, these were two dudes that when
Mhm.
everyone else said, we're going to go take over this land and they all chickened out, Joshua and Caleb said, nah, God's with us. Let's do this. Let's get it on. And they
Yeah.
were rewarded for that. And then you show them like, bro, you think the book of Esther sounds feminine or what? I was like, read the book of
Mhm.
Esther. Like it is a Hollywood movie to your wildest dreams. It's got everything you want. I was
That's
like,
right.
the Bible isn't some lame rule book, bro. It is life changing. So,
It is. I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for my kids to read this part.
right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Stay out of Solomon
you
until
never,
you're ready,
yeah,
kids.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. Hidden talent or something most people don't know about you. We're asking you to get vulnerable
Okay,
here. Let's go.
so I can moonwalk. Um,
What?
yes. I just showed this to my kids the other day. I don't know how it hasn't come up, but they were very impressed. Yes, so I can moonwalk. And what else did I put here? Oh, I'm a huge Regency nerd, like that era of writing. Okay, so Regency time period was like, I'm gonna say I could be off like early 1800s, in like the London area or surrounding area where like they're having these London seasons. I'm not a Bridgerton person. I've never seen that. I'm
Okay.
very careful about what I read and write, watch. But that era, a lot of people know that show. That era of time. That I don't know what my fascination is with it, but like if I could go to Regency retreat, I would do it.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's like, you said early 1800s. So that's like
So yeah.
like C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, and then those were like late 1800s, early 1900s, right? So you're talking pre
Right.
all
Yeah.
that.
Pre
Okay.
all that. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. Okay. I gotta ask though, is there any way like I can get like a 10-second clip of you moonwalking and insert it in this episode? I've got to insert it right here. I have to. If you're not
I
comfortable,
mean,
that's
yeah.
fine. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we got a ways before your episode actually gets published, but like, that'd be so awesome right now to say, here it is, right here. Here it comes. You can see it.
Yeah, I can. I'll back that up. Yeah, I can
Yes.
prove it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. Okay, next question. Ever fallen for an infomercial or an ad? Like something you know you didn't need, it was not on your radar, you saw it and you had to have it. Or you
I
bought into
am
it.
who infomercial and ads are for. Like
Oh.
I didn't used to be that way. Like when it was like the 1-800 number,
Mhm, mhm.
that came on after the good commercials at night.
Yep.
But Instagram ads, they get me. They
It
get me.
does. It
Yeah.
does. Man, I it's so good. It scares me to think
Hmm.
that it knows me that well. Like,
Oh
wow,
yeah.
it's not good. It's not good. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Last one for the getting to know you segment. This really gives people a deep dive into who you really are. If you're on death row and you're going to the chair or the table or whatever tomorrow, what's your last meal tonight?
Okay.
Everybody gets a
I
last
do.
meal.
I do love Southern cooking, all right, and I do. So don't hate me. And this is a different question than if you had to eat one thing on a desert
Yep.
island.
Yep.
That's totally different.
Yep.
But I just figured out what my answer for this was the other night. There is a place called New York Bagel in Baton Rouge. So, college days, going back to that. And there's a bagel sandwich called the Brooklyn Bomber. It's like thinly sliced chicken, like deli meat, thin.
Okay.
And tomatoes, Havarti cheese, and jalapeno mayo on a bagel. And then you have bagel chips and you dip all of that in the garden veggie cream
Oh
cheese.
my
It's
goodness.
it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out. What's the name of the place? We're gonna tag them in this.
New York Bagel.
New York Bagel. See, I've
Mhm.
learned sometimes if you name drop in an episode or whatever, when I'm clipping reels for your episode, like if sometimes I will intentionally mention certain people just so I can clip it and be like, hey, check out episode whatever when Hallie Dye talks about uh whatever. I already forgot it. Whatever the bagel company's
That's
name
awesome.
is. You know what I mean? And then they see it
Yes.
and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, oh, that reel got 30,000 views. Well, it's because that bagel company shared it. So
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
man. Hang on. It just came to me what I forgot, and I just forgot it again. Okay, yes, there. Got it. Okay. So social media. You
Mhm.
said you're doing a social media fast right now. So
Yes.
once your episode drops, I do like reels every day. But
Just let me know and I'll get on and
oh,
share
you'll
it.
share them? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
invite you to collab and all that. But if you're doing a fast, I'm like, I don't want to break that. Like that's good to get off of that stuff for a period of time for sure. But
No,
okay.
I mean, I'll just log in on my iPad and
Now we're good. Like a weight has lifted that I remembered what that was. Okay. Let's go into the last segment. This is one of the main reasons I started the podcast a few years ago, because people forgot how to have conversation about tough topics, about things that have us asking, like, we see this going on. What is up with that? Like, that just seems wild or seems different or sometimes seems, crazy. And I wanted to remind people, like, bro, you can talk to anybody about that, contrary to what culture is telling you. And people are telling you that if you disagree, now you're enemies. Like, no, you can have a different view on things, and it's okay. The world's going to keep moving. We're going to get up and go to work tomorrow. It's all right. Don't buy into the division. So you chose for your What Is Up segment, what is up with the homeschool shift? And I love it. I'm ready to talk about it, get your perspective, because like I said earlier, I don't want to hear from someone with a necktie. I want to hear from the experts. You're in this world now. You're learning how it works. Tell me about it. What's going on with homeschool?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned in part one last week, for those who listened, that was not something I ever thought I would be doing. We, our kids were at the same school I grew up in, and it's a small private Christian school. It's a great school. It's got great teachers. A lot of my friends work there. I just felt like, and this is not specific to that school, I can't speak to public school because we have not been in that with our kids, but and public school, like the public school system that my husband came from was completely different than what we have, and so now there are some really good ones we're not zoned for, and that gets hard too. But I just felt like the school system feels like it has moved so quickly towards performance and not just grades and academics, because it's good to work hard. I mean, I want to raise kids that understand to live with excellence, but to always measure your worth by performance and the hustle. And I just felt like when our oldest was in third grade, that it just felt like he did not have much of a childhood, and he seemed way too stressed to me than a third grader should be. I'm like, you can do that in your 30s,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we just, and so I did feel overwhelmed. Like I felt overwhelmed as a parent on equipping him with all of the homework and studying that we had. And this is after being there for 8 hours a day. And so it just, but when he started showing the effects of that, we were like, yeah, we're done,
Not good.
Yeah. And so, and again, great school, great people. I think the easiest way to say it is our priorities are different, and I don't run a school. So who knows, what my priorities would be if that were the case. But we were just like, we're really interested in slowing down. I think as we begin to pray about it, this is kind of a strange way to say it, but I kind of was like, I told Andrew one day, I said, if I'm an alien and I'm new to Earth, and you say, okay, your role here as a mom and your job as a mom is to raise functioning adults that can live in the world and love people and love God and whatever, however you want to define functional adult. I'd say, okay. And they'd say, okay, first you need to pick a school. There's this one that you're zoned for, there's this one, and all the things. And then we picked one. I think about 6 months in, I'd be like, hey, I can't do what I need to do because I don't have time to equip them in these other areas, because
Mhm.
we have so much time dedicated to this one part of their lives. And so for us choosing to homeschool, and this is where sometimes we can look at other homeschool families and be like, I don't know if we fit there either. But for us, choosing to homeschool was not because the academics wasn't good. It wasn't because the atmosphere was not Christian or, any of those things. For us, it was like there are so many other areas we're interested in shaping that aren't academics. And
Yeah.
so, yes, I care about education. And yes, I want them to have a great education and homeschool. But us choosing to homeschool, school is such a small part of that decision.
Gotcha. Gotcha. You're looking bigger picture. Yeah. I
Hmm.
like it. I like it. When you talk about performance, it's in public school today. It is like, I get what you were saying,
Hmm.
but the way it's done in public school today has caught my attention. When my kids were younger and starting to go through it, like the letter grades are gone. It's now numbers. And then when I started hearing them use this word reassess, and they started using it more and more often. So finally I asked them, I was like, "Bro, you're saying reassess, but it sounds to me like you're saying retest, like when you explain it to me." And they're like, "Yeah, that's basically what it is." I was like, "Bro, you used to only get a retest if you were like, your family went on vacation and you missed the test day. Like you got to,
Mm,
so it technically wasn't a retest, but they let you take the test at a later date or whatever. And they're like, no, you can reassess if your grade wasn't high enough and you can take, and I'm like, that's what I did to like get my learner's permit to drive. I took the test, I
mm-hmm,
failed it. They let you look at all the the correct answers for the questions you got wrong. And you came in the second time, I missed a lot less. I didn't actually learn it, but I missed a lot
mm-hmm,
less. And then by the third time, I didn't hardly miss any. But it's just because like you're not actually you say performance based, but are they actually learning? Are they getting it? And then when
mm-hmm,
you said like the whole thing about how much schoolwork you had to do homework at home, like literally my daughter, her senior year, we didn't see her. She went to school. Her room is in the basement. She got great grades, got scholarships and all that stuff. But she wasn't one of those, she wasn't one of those gifted Indian kids that just, bro, they have it. They love this stuff. Their mind retains it. She had to work at it so hard that we didn't see her till dinner time. And then she'd
mm-hmm,
eat late and I'm like, and it paid off. She did good in college and she did all that, but she had to work so hard for him. Just like, that's how much
mm-hmm,
effort you got to put into it. Man,
mm-hmm,
that it shouldn't be that much. Like she had no social life. It was
mm-hmm.
crazy.
And I think too, like, I'm sure you can relate, you and your wife, but like there have been seasons for sure for me and my husband where it's like, hey, we have a newborn or we have three and under, this is a survival season. You're starting a new business. We
Yeah,
need to be real careful with finances, whatever that looks like. But you always know there's an end in sight. And you
yeah,
are able to make the decision to do this
yeah,
most of the time. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it could be medical emergency, but most of the time you have some autonomy to say, we want to take this challenge on and it's worth, this risk. But when you look at first graders who are spending way too much time learning things that science has proven that's not how they learn,
yeah,
it's they can't choose that and they're living in a way like I looked at my husband last year and I was like, as a family have made sacrifices for us to have a better work-life balance and our kids can't make that decision for themselves
yeah, yeah,
and they don't have it, and not every family can make that decision, but even if it's in school, being able to say, we don't care if you make a B on this test. I mean, I was dropping my son off last year and he was like getting out of the car and this is just his temperament, but he was like, oh my goodness, I think that I was supposed to be able to write the definitions on this one. It's not multiple choice. And he was like panicked getting out of the car. And I said, hey, we wouldn't have wanted to spend the extra time on that, even if you'd remember. Like, just
yeah,
you go in and you word it as best you can. It was like, honestly, a subject I didn't know why we were doing to
yeah,
begin with,
yeah,
and it was math vocab. Why are we taking math vocab? I don't, I mean, that's not me saying I don't care about working or I don't care about education, but like school, everything in childhood should be building a child for what they need in the real world. If you want them to know the habit of what Sabbath and rest in the Lord looks
sure,
like and that it's important to practice, do they have the opportunity to do that in their life? If you want them to understand what seasons of he makes me lie down in green pastures, even when I don't want to, are they allowed to have a sick day?
yeah,
You know, I
yeah,
mean, just like look at the patterns you're building. I begin to feel like, and I'm not saying we won't be back at the same school. I don't know, but I begin to look at the patterns we were building, and it's like I might not be verbally teaching them this, but if I'm dropping them off every day in this environment, I'm putting my stamp of approval on it.
yeah, yeah,
And I felt like I was starting to see a struggle with performance that I'm trying to unlearn in my 30s,
yeah, yeah,
And so, I think that's a huge way of thinking through things. And then, not to mention, like there was a study done, and this was a secular study. I don't remember. It was like an Ivy League school, and I can't remember who it was. But they looked at what were predictors of kids who were going to be successful. Could they measure what that was?
yeah,
And what they found was that it was kids. There were two sides to this. The simple answer is it was kids who basically did chores growing up.
yeah,
But the science kind of behind it was these are kids who had to do things they didn't want to do, and obviously
yep,
the responsibility and that sort of thing. But it's like you're not deterred by when there's parts of your job that you don't want to do. That doesn't make you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm not fulfilled or happy when you hit the workforce. There's things like that. But like
mhm,
when I tell you we did not have space to teach our kids chores and everyday things, it was hard. And then this is kind of jumping into a separate part of it, but one of the things I've seen, and we can talk more about what shifts I've seen this past year, but one of the big things is, when you have boys and like attention span,
Yeah.
you don't have an all day attention span, and that's also just kids. I mean, my daughter's 9 and same thing, but she can hang a lot longer because girls just learn differently. And but like with my oldest, when he was getting to certain ages, I'm like, okay, I've got things I want to disciple him, but I gotta wait till those good 5 minutes hit. Like when those good 5 minutes hit where I can tell he's locked in, I gotta be ready. That was like the intentionality that I would try to bring to those young years of discipleship. And now, it's already easier with him being 10, but I feel like what we've seen with homeschool is it doesn't matter how intentional you are with quality time. The time that's really spent focusing on the family or this child or pouring into them in this way. When you have more quantity time with someone, there are pockets of quality time you couldn't plan.
Yeah.
There are conversations that come up that you're like, I didn't know you felt that way, or I didn't know you struggled with that doubt. Let's read this book on that, or I didn't know that friendship was bothering you, and it happened because we were shoulder to shoulder doing the dishes. Like
Yep.
it's so. That's why I said I think that's the number one problem we face as everyone is when you're busy, there's no time for slow. Look at all the miracles that Jesus did. Most of them were considered interruptions by our society.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they weren't. They were divine appointments. Like the reason I'm doing a social media fast is like just to be totally transparent. Like lately, we've been so tired, and I'm doing my quiet time and honoring the Lord with where I'm at. But like, I'm like, I don't want to write. I don't want to study. I don't want to learn. I just want to laze right now. Like
Yeah.
that's just where my desires have been at naturally. And I just got to a point where I'm like, I cannot change my desires. Like I can feel myself wanting to drift as we're wont to do in the Christian walk. I can feel that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let myself, but what I can do is make space for you to change my desires. And so I'm going to take social media off my phone. That's an easy thing. I'm just going to make this space that I probably don't even realize how much time I'm spending on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is not me saying every family in the world needs to homeschool. I don't know if we'll do it past next year. But are there things that you can be a little bit cutthroat with in our society that creates space for the Lord to move and change our desires and move us in discipleship with our kids?
Oh, I love it. I love it. You got to make yourself available for change. Yeah. Yeah. That's if you're so filled up with everything. Oh, I love it. I talked with a kid, had him on the podcast. He grew up in church, smart kid, goes to college. I had him on as a guest. He's a thinker, way deeper thinker than me. And I mean, he brought up the Nephilim on our episode and talked about pyramids and things. And I was like, bro, I've read the Bible like 6 times and I have no idea what you're talking about. I miss the Nephilim every time I've read the Bible. I cannot believe that. And he got into theory and we got deep. But anyway, he was talking about like education. He goes, you do know like public school. I was like, I understand how it was in the beginning, like with the New England primer and using the Bible and the structure of a school day. And it was much more suited to what you were saying. Equip kids to be like functioning adults, life skills, give them the basics of what they need so that as they grow up, it's not classroom 8 hours a day, this and that. And he said, yeah, have you ever looked at that? Like the reason when they designed public school classrooms and the structure of the day, it was literally built around like producing kids to go work in factories. That's all it was. The schedule, the bell ringing, the rows of desks, all that stuff. There was no room, no space made for anything else. And I was like, holy cow, and it's right there. You can research these guys, John Dewey and different guys, that have influenced public education over the years. And it's all right there. And so it was a good conversation, but that brings me back. I used to say this to the Awana kids all the time. And I said, I can see it's coming about in the last 20 years. Like, in order to go forward in the right direction as a society, as a culture, as a country, I think we just need to go backwards, to be honest, in a lot of areas. And with technology now, it's really, I'm really starting to be thinking, I think the Lord gave me the right view on that. And I looked to this one lady, she's got an Instagram account. Her name's Danita Meskimen. She runs a social media account called the One Room, I think it's called Virginia's One Room Red Schoolhouse. And I reached out to her and I was like, I love what you're doing. And it hits on exactly what you said. Like yeah, they do the Pledge of Allegiance. They have prayer in the morning. Then they do what kids should be working on for a certain amount of time, and then they go out and work the farm. They do chores with all the animals. Then they go learn
Mhm.
about the bees, and then they do all these different hands-on things. And the school day is a little bit shorter, but it's more active and interactive. And next thing you know, she's on Fox News, and they're doing a big hit on her. And she's not just doing it for herself. Her business is basically helping others start one-room schoolhouses, whether
Wow.
it's in your church fellowship hall, for 6 hours a day, or, if you have, the space to build a little building on your own property. And I
Mhm.
was like, bro, that is exactly what I've been thinking. We need to go backwards in order to, raise up the next
Mhm.
generation properly to go forwards. And I mean, it's gotten to the point for me where I'm kind of planting my flag, and I don't want to sound like, oh, all this is bad, because like you said, social
Mhm.
media can be great. It can be horrible. Like, it can be a tool for the devil. It can be a tool for good. You have to use discernment. You use the word discernment, and I don't think we hit on that word hard enough in part one, but discernment is like
Mhm.
the key thing when making any decision. But I'm to the point now where when it comes to AI, like, I'm not one of those super fearful people or anything like that. I understand how it can be a very useful tool for people, but I'm at the point
Mhm.
now where, like, that fits into my messaging of, I think we need to go back to go forward, that I've now
Mhm.
created a little badge that I think I started it in my last episode, and I put this little badge stamp on like thumbnails and things that literally says no AI used. Our conversation, our correspondence back and forth was all through email. Sometimes it's with guests, it's through text or meeting face to face. Then we meet up, we record. I edit this whole thing. I don't upload it into a program and tell it to trim out the coughs or the ums, or nope. I do all this stuff by hand because, like, there's a work ethic behind it. I'm not taking the shortcut. But the business world is going to tell you time is money. This can make yourself, more profitable and all that. It's like, I'm losing money. I'm not, that's the difference. I'm not doing this to make money. This is a ministry for me. I'm trying to encourage people, point them to Jesus, talk about hard things, talk about good
Mhm.
things, uh, stuff like that. And it's like, so now I'm stamping stuff, no AI used, because I just think, like, if you follow this out, if you look forward enough, we're going to get to the point where our schedules are so busy, our kids will probably get dumber. Is that going to get me canceled? I don't know. But we just get
Mhm.
lazier,
Oh,
busier, and stuff does
yeah.
everything for us. I think they made a movie about it. Was it Wally? Was it a
Yeah,
Disney movie
Wally,
called Wally,
yeah.
where people were like
Uh-huh.
doing nothing?
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
so
want to live there.
actually there was a what was he? I don't know if he was a psychiatrist or a I can't remember, and I don't remember his name, but there was a guy who was talking about how they have tracked um, from generation to generation. Usually the children are smarter than the parents'
Okay.
generation. They've seen that trend continue until Gen Z,
Oh,
and they did not track higher than the parents. Obviously, that's not every Gen Z kid. You know what I mean?
right.
Like
Yeah.
that's not, but I mean, they have been able to track that, and they think that it is because of technology.
Technology.
And like when you study, I am like videos are great. I can be a visual learner. Like when I was in history, and in high school, I would draw pictures of the battles because if I saw things labeled, I'd remember it for the test. Like I think, that's great. But when you're on a Chromebook for 8 hours, like you're not innately getting things into your bones like you would if a person, like people learn people to people. They just do.
Yeah.
God created us to be communal. I mean, Eve learned the garden from Adam,
Yeah. Yeah.
which set up the whole marriage roles. But we learn from people. That's the way that he created it, and I think like there's nothing wrong with streamlining something if you have a point to do it. Like if
Sure.
I'm going to streamline, like you use editing, if you're going to streamline your editing, what are you what are you freeing up your space to do?
What is it
You
gaining?
know,
Yeah.
yeah, if it's just to gain sitting in your chair at the end of Wally, which is where I've wanted to be lately. I mean, I'm telling you, the Lord's got to change my desires.
Uh,
Mainly because we didn't have couches for 2 months, and I'm like, I just want to be on that couch now that we
yeah.
have it. But
Yeah.
but all that to say, like, are you like, yes, he's the God of all comfort, but are you making comfort your God?
Oh,
Like, are you making ease your God instead of seeking God for rest? I mean, there's a lot tied up in work ethic, but yeah, that's a real thing. Like school being created to create factory workers. And I was reading, do you ever listen to the Thousand Hours Outside podcast?
No, haven't heard of that one.
Oh, you need to look into that one. She wrote a book. She's written a few books, but her latest is just called Homeschooling. And the tagline, it's you're doing it right just by doing it. And the message of the book is not saying if you don't homeschool, you're not doing it right. She was a teacher. She's for education, but she's speaking to the homeschool parents who go, are we doing enough science? Are we doing enough hands-on?
Mhm.
And she's just saying you're doing more than you think in your homeschooling. That's the message of the book. But she talked about that in the history of how school got started and that it was a suppression system, made to create factory workers. And so, the message to parents from her was like, hey, if you feel as a parent like the system was not created out of looking at children and how they learn and what they need, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's okay. Like if me and my husband feel called to move to a third world country next year and become missionaries, and we know that there's going to be dangers and differences and things like that, it's not saying that's a bad choice to make, but like, are you going to be intentional about how you're discipling your kids? Like
Mhm.
um, Tim Tebow's mom, she wrote a book and she talked about like if she wanted her kids to know scripture, she had to make up songs and stuff for them to learn it. She was like, there's no Awanas, there's no VBS, there's
Yeah.
no, and we're like facing real fear things and, real danger and all this stuff. And so all that to say, wherever you choose to plant your family that God's called you, and I do believe he calls people to public school and private school and homeschool and everything in between, you do have to go in and realize what deficiencies you need to be nurturing, and so like you said something earlier, now I can't remember. Oh, about going backwards to
Mhm.
that point. Maybe someone's in a job or they're like, we both of us, we need this dual income, and someone can't work from home, so you can't homeschool or whatever that looks like. And you don't feel like you can go backwards. You just have to choose to be drastic. Like whatever you do, it's got to be drastic because the world is not going to push you into positions that are good for you and your family. And like for us, for me and Andrew, our kids were literally going to the school that we went to. They're
Mhm.
living in the same town that I grew up in. They're going to the same church that I went to. Like it looks like we haven't moved from the 90s,
Yeah.
but what we realize because the climate of the world and also education has changed so much, it's like, oh, we have to do something differently than we did to get a childhood akin to the one we had.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes parents don't realize that that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah. You see them all the time. You see the 80s memes, the 90s memes. I heard Pizza Huts are starting to like go back to their retro decor. Like people are
Hmm.
seeing it and wanting like the nostalgia of it, I get is different than what we're talking about. I mean, it's two different levels here. But is it really that different? We look at those images, those scenes, we talk about riding our bikes and being out till the streetlights are on. None of these experiences are able to be had today. You're saying you're gonna have to make that. You're gonna have to make that happen. It might be a drastic
Hmm.
decision that culture says, "Wow, look at you, weirdo." We all look at that stuff and say that was good and we were better for
Right.
it. What's so drastic about creating a space to make that happen?
Exactly right. If it is not safe where you live to let the kids play outside until dark, what can you do differently to create that same resilience?
Yeah,
Like it might not look the same way,
yeah,
but to get to that feeling of nostalgia, what can you do drastically? And I think we're going to have to do that the more we go on
sure.
in the world of technology that's shifting.
Sure. And that's just lived experience, right? Because like I said, I want to
Hmm.
hear from the experts. I want to hear from the people that actually have experience. Wearing a suit or a necktie doesn't make you the expert. When it comes back to like the Virginia's one room red schoolhouse and the whole homeschool shift, like Danita was a public school teacher for many years. Like she was in there and that led her to make this space, to make this change. And she didn't know what the future was going to look like, really. She's very open on her social media about like I talked my husband into turning our little pole building into a classroom, and now look at the fruit that's being produced. You be drastic. You have no. If you think go to God first and
Hmm.
be willing to be drastic and make that space for change, and you have no idea the kind of fruit that's going to come from it. I love this kind of
Hmm.
conversation. This is good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Really good. You got anything else you want to
Mhm.
throw in there that we maybe missed?
There's a lot of things. that we've learned in homeschooling. I think when you have multiples, being able to slow down and have the slow space of like, you know what, you do have that interest. Let's steward that. We wouldn't have been able to steward that if we didn't, like we can take this lesson during school hours, that we wouldn't have been able to fit into our home life or whatever. Like if you've always said like, oh, this kid would really benefit from PT or OT. Now you have time, go do that. Like there's space for things like that really will change their lives in small ways. And like that, again, you can do all those things in any regard, but it's created space for us to do that more intentionally. We've seen confidence grow because we have time to build competence in areas that we were honestly moving too fast to be able to do, and it's like now they know they are capable to do this because we've had the slow time to go fail and get it right. And it's okay if it's messy. One of the things I feel like that we won't totally see this year, but we're already starting to see some of the roots of it is the ability to be your own person and do life differently, even than your best friends. I mean, none of our closest friends homeschool. And our kids, I guess I expected them halfway through the year to be like, it's been great. I enjoyed not having homeschool, but I miss all the parties at Christmas time and whatever. And all my friends were talking about this at church. And and like we have moments and we always talk about two things can be true at the same time. Yep. Like when you have guests come stay with you, are you sad that they left? Yes. Is it nice to get back into a routine? Yes. Like those are two things are totally true. And so we talk about that. Like, do we miss that part of school? Absolutely. Do we miss the people? Absolutely. And I always ask, would you choose to go back? And they're like, no. Yeah. And what I love that they're learning in that we haven't even like explicitly stated is like, I can miss those things. I can love those people. I can think that's great. And I can be comfortable in my choice that's different. And like, I love that they're learning that that's hard for grownups, And so like, even though that's not a lesson we are, like I said, explicitly teaching, they're learning that in ways that they won't even realize they did.
Yeah, that's good. It's good stuff. Man, let's say if people listening, if they got questions about homeschool that they want to ask you or what it specifically looks like for you, or maybe they're interested in the book or following you on social media, what's the best way for people to connect with you and follow you and get in touch with you?
I am so easy to find. If you DM me on Instagram, I will see it. Or you can email me at hallie@saltworksministries.com. If it's like hey, I have this whole situation with homeschool or what curriculum do you, if it's something longer. Of course, we've talked about parts of homeschooling on the Saltworks podcast, but yeah, Hallie Dye, at Hallie Dye on Instagram, the Saltworks, I'm easy to find.
There you go. There you go. We didn't talk about it much on part 2, but if you're interested, definitely check out the book that she wrote, You're Still a Good Mom. It's going to be a great book, a great help for that woman in your life who's dealing with stuff with having kids, or maybe they were postpartum. This is definitely going to be the book for them as well. So, but definitely Hallie's got some experience with homeschool and doing life. And I like a lot of what she says. So this was a lot of fun. Good discussion. This is what we're here for. So I'm sure, Hallie, you encouraged our audience with your whole episode and everything you shared, both parts. Hopefully it got people thinking a little bit about like, what is up when it comes to life? Like, why are these two guys sitting here on a Saturday morning recording this and taking time out of their schedule to do it? Because we think it's important to share what life has been like. So to my audience, have you guys ever caught yourself looking around today and asking like, what is up with some of this stuff that's going on? I mean, there's all kinds of examples. Like, I think I've said it before, but like in California, you can have an abortion, but you can't declaw a cat because it's inhumane. Like, bro, come on, what's the logic behind that? We got to be asking the tough questions here. Are you struggling to figure out what is true or good or right in this society anymore? If you want rock solid, never changing biblical truth, rather than nonsensical, ever-changing cultural standards, I'm telling you, there's one place to go, and it's up. You got to look to God and His Word, and He will show you what is up. The Bible has proven itself to me time and time again to have the best answers and explanations for why life is the way it is and why we are the way we are sometimes and do the things we do. So if you're struggling to find truth or meaning or purpose in this life, let me make it real simple for you. You were created by a God who desires to have a relationship with you, but He wants you to choose Him. He's not going to force you into anything. Okay, that's where all the good stuff you want that we were kind of talking about there, like creating space to have hope, joy, peace, the best things in life, that's where it comes from. That's what you were created for. That's the only way to get it, is a relationship with God through Jesus. Absolutely nothing else on this earth in your lifetime is going to fully, permanently satisfy you. I promise you that. We all got a God-shaped hole inside of us, and there's only one thing that fits there. No matter what you try and fill it with, it starts with a relationship with Jesus. So if you want to go deeper, you want to talk more with me, email me, whatisuppodcast@gmail.com. I'll make time, try and help any way I can. Reach out to Hallie. She's available. She'll help you through whatever questions you got. Just leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. So for me and my guest today, Hallie Dye, author of You're Still a Good Mom, homeschool mom down in Monroe, Louisiana, and founder of the Saltworks Ministries. We thank you guys so much for listening or watching, however you did it. We hope it really encouraged you, maybe even challenged you a little bit. Lord willing, I will talk to you on the next one.
Thank you again for having me. Both parts have been just so much fun and such honestly needed reminders for why we've made the decisions we made. And I just want to encourage anybody listening, take all those decisions and intentionally pray through those with the Lord. You never know what he'll do.
Absolutely. Amen. Amen. Or as they say in the South, that'll preach. That'll preach.